it's been 3 weeks now since I've started doing good mornings, and I've been pushing them hard as I can, sets of 10. I got to 135 kilos last week, and that was a battle, man. And so today I was coming in and I thought, man, it's going to be another battle if I'm going to advance this to 140. And then I thought about what Louis Simmons said: make sure you rotate every 3 weeks. I look at the log and I see it's been more than 3 weeks. It's pushing to 4 weeks now. So I thought, okay, let's change it up. I still want to do good mornings, but let's change it up. And then I decided to do wide stance good mornings, which are practically a lot harder for me for whatever reason. Everything wide stance is hard for me. I don't know what the common denominator there is. It's probably adductors, lateral hip, something. I don't know. Adductors or lateral hip probably has a lot to do with it. I would say adductors are the biggest muscle group when it comes to wide stance, and I would say, yeah, it's a good place to start, to look at the biggest guy in the room and say, you're the problem. And so I think that is the problem for me. It's always tight. I have very, very poor mobility. If I was to do like middle splits or whatever you call them, man, I can't even get to 90 degrees at the hip. Very, very tight. This is why I struggle with sumos. This is why I struggle with wide stance squats. This is why all of my numbers, when we're talking about wide stance, are really bad. So I did it, and I pushed hard. I wasn't really confident in doing it, but I got to 120 kilos, and to be honest, when I did the first rep of that 120, I thought, okay, that's enough. I'll put it back. I just don't have the confidence, man. I'm quite happy that I got to 120, but it just does not feel like a confident lift. It doesn't feel like I am insulated in my lower back. When I'm in wide stance, man, I feel like, I don't know, man. I just feel like I'm very close to injury. Like when I have my feet close, even last week 135, there is no doubt in my mind I'm safe. There is no doubt in my mind. It's hard, don't get me wrong, it was a battle, but I didn't feel unsafe. With wide stance, I feel unsafe all the time. I feel like the bar is drifting. I feel like my even at the top, right? If I'm standing right at the top in a wide stance, I feel like my anterior pelvic tilt is even more so. It's exaggerated in a wide stance. I don't know what the culprit there is. Maybe the adductors are pulling on the pelvis as well. Maybe the hip flexors are being stretched, and that's why they're pulling more so than usual. I don't know, but wide stance is shit for me. It's shit for me. I don't care if I'm pulling or pushing, hingy or squatty, anything like that. I feel crap. Just there, I was sitting there like reviewing the footage of today, looking at the all of the reps, and I'm thinking to myself, man, like maybe I gotta stretch every single day of these adductors, like really force them to do something, because squatting every day, if you think about it, one of the things it does is that it makes muscles short, and specifically the adductors, because those guys are responsible for the bottom portion, the ATG, and so they're always kind of getting stress through them, but not so much like any old stress, but like explosive bouncy stress, which is probably the most amount of pressure on any of the muscles. It's just like right at the bottom, bang, stretch reflex. It's always on them. So I don't know. I'm going to a night shift tonight, so it's not the best day to do it, but I don't know if I should just from now on, just focus on adductor flexibility as well. Force it. I might look at some videos from like guys who do middle splits. I don't know. I'm just kind of sitting here wondering what the hell is going on. Why am I always out of position in wide stance? Why am I always being pulled out of position? Like I go super, like if I do a middle split stretch right now, and I just stand there and spread my legs as much as possible in a standing position, I look at myself in the mirror on the profile, man, and my anterior pelvic tilt is ridiculous. Like my whole pelvis is just rotated forward. So it gets exaggerated when I'm in a wide stance. Maybe this is why I feel shit in a wide stance, because I'm not stacked at all, man. The weight's like falling through the front of the hip. It's not like, I don't know. And then because of that massive anterior pelvic tilt that I feel in wide, the glutes are probably being stretched out, and they can't even contract. They're being stretched out of position, right? They're stretching so much because of the anterior pelvic tilt that they can't exert force. You can't exert force in something that is being stretched to the living hell. So I don't know, man. Maybe that's why I feel shit, because the glutes are just, you know, they're being sabotaged by the front of the hip, by the hip flexors, adductors. I don't know what the hell the situation of the front is, but it's a nuisance, man. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you want to do bicep curls, but you go really, 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 really tight triceps. How does that work, man? How the hell does that work? How do you bend your damn arm if the triceps are fully contracted? Go for it. Try it. It's stupid, man. Doesn't make sense. That's why I always feel like when I'm squatting, man, I don't know, a lot of you guys are like, man, you should be able to like squat 240, 250, all this stuff in a wide stance, do this, do that, belt. Man, I'm fighting myself, man. That's what it feels like sometimes. I'm just battling my own musculature. This guy's pulling, the other guy's pushing, this guy's pulling, this guy. God damn, man. Can't we just work as a team for once? And maybe this is why like I feel so bad in the car, because like when I drive that, you know, that car, like the bucket seats force you to have, you know, sit in the car like a good girl, if you can imagine it, right? Like knees like all the way together, right? The bucket seats don't allow you to spread your legs, right? So if I spend like, I don't know, 45 minutes in the car, it's not a hip pain like back in the day, like debilitating, but I start to feel a little bit funny through the hip. I start to get like, it's almost like the adductors start to lock up. There's always spasming. They're spasming because every single day they're getting smashed. I'm raping the hell out of the adductors, man. Every single day. I don't know. Maybe I should start stretching them. I've never been a fan of stretching. I'm always hot and cold with stretching, man. I don't want to say I'll be stretching every day, because if I say that, I probably won't, but I gotta do something about it. I don't know. I definitely know when I spend the entire week just doing wide stance stuff, I feel better. As soon as I start like moving heavy weight in the deadlift, or like, you know, start squatting, you know, heavy weight in the narrow, all of a sudden the adductors start to get pissed off. So I gotta stretch them. I don't know what the best stretch for that is. I'm thinking about like PNF stretching is probably the best way I go about it, right? Because the PNF stretching is, it's not just stretching, static stretching. You're actually also, you know, contracting at the end range, and I don't know, as the word says, PNF, you know, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. You are facilitating the muscle to get used to being long. I need long adductors, man, and I don't know, like after all these years of squatting and knowing my body, I always come back to the same old damn thing. The anterior pelvic tilt is making you weaker. There. Why is that? Well, because it's inhibiting the damn glutes. Why does that matter? Well, the glutes are the primary hip extensors. Why does that matter? Everything got to do with what we try to do here is hip extension. It's limited by hip extension. Squat, deadlift, hip extension. Hip extension, hip extension. That's the battle. That's the battle, man. The days I feel squat really, really poppy, and I feel I can squat, are the days, now that I think about it, man, like when I wake up from night shift, right, I've just slept the entire, whatever, 5-6 hours that I get after a night. And usually on those days I get up, I don't mess around, I don't do anything, I just go straight for the workout, because I know as soon as I eat, I'm destroyed, like all the sleepy moods come in. So as soon as I wake up, go straight to the gym or straight into the squat rack at home, and I start squatting and I start deadlifting, and usually I feel really good. I feel poppy. Why is that? Well, because I've been sleeping, and so everything is relaxed. But if I say go and train after a couple of meals, after sitting around a little bit, blah, 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 I start to lock up for whatever reason, and because of sitting or whatever else, the anterior pelvic tilt muscles start to really kick in, and then I get to the gym and I'm like locked up and crap, and I can't just unlock and freaking move, man. Like I'm always cramped up. And obviously, you know, after yesterday doing the belt squats, of course, everything is sore and tight, and I get that. I'm not expecting any miracles. But I'm just trying to look for common denominators with the wide stance business. Why am I so crap in wide stance? So crap. And I reckon, you know, this is something to do with it. The adductors are just short. Short adductors because you're always bouncing on them in the ATG. Always bouncing on them. Bounce, 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 bounce. And because of that, the whole squat is limited by one single muscle group. So if I could address that, and this is what conjugate really is, it's like you are addressing it through variation. You're always hitting something different. And so maybe this is why I feel so good, is because I'm giving my adductors a bit of a break. I'm not always going ATG. I'm going on a 16-inch box, a 12-inch box. I'm doing front squats. I'm doing, you know, lots of different things. I'm not just hammering the same pattern. I don't know. You know, I frankly, I'm sick of the adductors being so short. I don't think the static stretching is the way to go. I think PNF, maybe horse stance. Even horse stance doesn't feel like I don't know, man. The adductors make everything hard, man. Maybe those Cossack squats. I like those. Those are pretty good. I did them last year. That kind of felt all right because, you know, you're kind of like stretching and then flexing, stretching and then flexing. Maybe I'll do them now after I'm done here. Or maybe I'll try a couple of those because they kind of feel good. It stretches the whole thing and then you push off with your quad on the other side and then back stretch and then push and then stretch and then push. I don't know. I think I need some sort of routine before I squat and deadlift where it's heavily focused around the adductors. And obviously you don't want to statically stretch them. You don't want to nuke them. You don't want to make them fall asleep long. You want to warm them up in such a way. Maybe the adductor machine. I don't know about what to do at home. I don't know. I need some sort of routine where like it's heavily focused on the adductors, like, you know, stimulates them, activates them, and then I go into the movement. But like going in cold with adductors that are pissed off, it's not a nice, pleasant experience. Anyway, guys, appreciate you. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.